You're standing at the edge of the Appalachian Mountains, surrounded by nothing but the dense foliage of the deep woods. The sunlight filters through the trees, casting dappled shadows on the forest floor. You've been hiking for hours, and the thrill of exploration still courses through your veins. But little do you know, this is about to become a journey you'll never forget. As you push deeper into the woods, the trees grow taller, and the air grows thick with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. You've been warned about the dangers of the Appalachian Mountains, but you're not one to listen to cautionary tales. You're a seasoned hiker, and you know these woods like the back of your hand. Or so you think. You've been hiking for hours, and the sun is beginning to set. The sky is painted with hues of orange and pink, a breathtaking sight that's almost surreal. But as the light fades, the woods grow darker, and the shadows seem to twist and writhe on the forest floor. You quicken your pace, eager to find a place to set up camp for the night. And then you see it, an old, abandoned mine shaft hidden behind a tangle of overgrown vegetation. The entrance is a gaping mouth of darkness, beckoning you to come closer. Your curiosity gets the best of you, and you can't resist the urge to explore it. This is a moment that will change you forever. As you step into the mine shaft, the air grows thick with the stench of decay. You can hear the sound of scurrying rodents, their tiny footsteps echoing off the walls of the mine. The darkness seems to close in around you, making it hard to see more than a few feet in front of you. You fumble in your backpack for a flashlight and turn it on, casting a weak beam of light into the darkness. The mine is old, and it's clear that no one has been here in years. The air is heavy with the scent of rot and mold, and you can see the remnants of old equipment and tools scattered throughout the mine. But as you make your way deeper into the mine, you begin to feel a creeping sense of dread. It's as if you're being watched, and the darkness seems to be closing in around you. Suddenly, you hear a strange noise, the sound of rocks shifting and falling. You turn to see a section of the mine wall collapsing behind you, trapping you inside. Panic sets in as you realize you're stuck. The darkness seems to have a life of its own, and you're at its mercy. You frantically search for a way out, but every door and exit you find is blocked. You're trapped, and you have to rely on your wits to survive the night. The mine is old and treacherous, and you know that the slightest mistake could be fatal. You're faced with a choice: give in to fear and succumb to the darkness, or use your ingenuity to find a way out. As the night wears on, the darkness seems to grow thicker, more oppressive. You can feel it pressing in on you from all sides, making it hard to breathe. You're alone, and you're at the mercy of the mine. But you're not one to give up easily. You use every trick in the book to survive, from starting a fire to navigating the treacherous terrain. But even with your best efforts, you can't shake the feeling that you're being watched. The darkness seems to have a life of its own, and you're not sure what's waiting for you in the shadows. You're trapped, and you have to rely on your wits to survive. Will you make it out of the mine alive, or will you succumb to the darkness that's closing in around you? As the hours tick by, you begin to lose track of time. You're trapped in a world of darkness, and you're not sure which way is up. But even in the depths of despair, there's a glimmer of hope. You remember the words of a wise old hiker who once told you that the Appalachian Mountains are full of secrets. Secrets that only reveal themselves to those who dare to venture into the unknown. You cling to those words, using them to fuel your determination to survive. You refuse to give up, even when all hope seems lost. And slowly but surely, you start to see a glimmer of light, a chance to escape the mine and make it back to the safety of the outside world. But as you make your way towards the exit, you're faced with one final challenge. The mine is treacherous, and you know that one misstep could be fatal. You take a deep breath, steeling yourself for the journey ahead. You're not sure what's waiting for you on the other side of the mine, but you're ready to face it head-on. You take your first step forward, and then another, and another. The darkness seems to close in around you, but you refuse to give up. You're driven by a fierce determination to survive, and you're willing to do whatever it takes to make it out of the mine alive. And then, in a flash of light, you see it, the exit. You stumble towards it, your heart pounding in your chest. You emerge from the mine, blinking in the bright sunlight. You're free, and you know that you'll never forget this experience. But as you look back at the mine, you realize that something is off. The darkness seems to be watching you, and you can feel its presence lingering in the air. You shiver, despite the warmth of the sun on your skin. You know that you've faced something truly terrifying in that mine, and you'll never be the same again. The experience has changed you, and you're not sure how to process it. You're left with more questions than answers, and you're not sure what to make of the strange feelings that linger inside you. But one thing is certain. You'll never forget the Appalachian horror story that changed you forever. You're standing at the edge of the Appalachian Mountains, the same place where I had an experience that would change me forever. But today, I'm here to share with you another terrifying tale that still haunts me to this day, the legend of the Brown Mountain Lights. As you drive through the winding roads of North Carolina, you'll catch glimpses of the mountain's majestic peak. Locals claim to have seen ghostly lights dancing across the mountain, and I'm not here to debunk the legend. In fact, I'm about to take you on a journey to the heart of this mystery, where the truth will leave you questioning everything. The Brown Mountain Lights have been observed for centuries, with the first recorded sighting dating back to the 1800s. Since then, countless people have reported seeing these inexplicable lights, but the cause remains unknown. Some say they're the result of a natural phenomenon, while others believe it's a sign from beyond the grave. As you venture into the woods, the air grows thick with anticipation, and you can't help but wonder what you'll see. I went to investigate the lights, but what I found was not what I expected. The experience was so intense that it left me with a lasting sense of unease. I hiked for hours, the sun setting behind me as I climbed higher and higher. The trees grew taller, their branches creaking in the wind like skeletal fingers reaching for the sky. And then, suddenly, I saw it, a flicker of light on the horizon. My heart racing, I quickened my pace, and soon I found myself at the base of the mountain. The lights danced across the sky, pulsing with an otherworldly energy. I felt a shiver run down my spine as I realized that I was not alone. The air was charged with an electric tension, and I could feel the weight of history bearing down on me. As I dug deeper into the legend, I discovered that the lights are often associated with unexplained occurrences and tragic events. It's as if the mountain is trying to tell us something, but what? Some say it's a warning, a sign that something terrible is about to happen. Others believe it's a message from the spirits, a call to listen to the whispers of the past. But what I found most unsettling was the connection between the lights and the people who've experienced them. They often report feeling a deep sense of sadness and loss, as if they've been touched by something ancient and mysterious. It's as if the mountain has a way of reaching into your soul, leaving you with a sense of unease that never quite fades. I remember speaking to a local who claimed to have seen the lights as a child. She told me that it was a feeling of being watched, of being drawn into a world beyond our own. And when I asked her what she felt, she simply said, "It was like I was home." That's the most chilling part of the legend, the feeling that the Brown Mountain Lights are a doorway to something unknown, something that's been hidden for centuries. And as you stand at the edge of this mystery, you can't help but wonder what lies beyond the veil. As I left the mountain that day, I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd been a part of something much larger than myself. The Brown Mountain Lights had left me with a sense of awe and trepidation, a reminder that there are still secrets in this world that we can't begin to understand. And that's what I want to leave you with today, a sense of curiosity, a desire to explore the unknown. Because in the end, it's not the answer that's so terrifying, but the questions that we're left with. What lies beyond the Brown Mountain Lights? What secrets are hidden in the Appalachian woods? And what will we discover when we venture into the unknown? The truth is, I don't have the answers. But what I do know is that the legend of the Brown Mountain Lights is a reminder that there's still so much we don't know about this world. And it's that sense of wonder, that sense of awe, that keeps us coming back for more. As you continue your journey through the Appalachian deep woods, I want to leave you with a question. What will you discover when you venture into the unknown? Will you see the brown mountain lights for yourself? Or will you stumble upon a secret that's been hidden for centuries? The mystery of the brown mountain lights remains unsolved, but one thing is certain. It's a reminder that there's still so much to explore, so much to discover. And as you stand at the edge of this mystery, you can't help but feel a sense of excitement, a sense of anticipation. Will you join me on this journey into the unknown? Let's explore the Appalachian deep woods together and see what secrets we can uncover. The brown mountain lights await. It's time to find out what they have in store for us. You're standing at the edge of the Appalachian Mountains, surrounded by the dense foliage of the deep woods. The Cherokee Moccasin Trail beckons, a legendary path said to be haunted by the spirits of Cherokee warriors. According to legend, this trail is cursed, and anyone who walks it will be met with misfortune. As you gaze out into the forest, the whispers of the past seem to echo through the trees. I'll be honest with you, I was both intrigued and terrified by this legend. I'd always been drawn to the unknown, and the thought of hiking the Cherokee Moccasin Trail was too tempting to resist. Despite the warnings from locals and fellow hikers, I decided to take on the challenge. After all, how bad could it be, right? As I made my way through the dense forest, the silence was almost deafening. The only sounds were the rustling of leaves beneath my feet and the occasional chirp of a bird. It was as if the forest was holding its breath, waiting to see what I'd do next. I began to feel a strange, unsettling energy, like I was being watched by unseen eyes. The hairs on the back of my neck stood on end, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being led deeper into the woods for a reason. It wasn't long before I started to notice strange noises, the snapping of twigs, the creaking of branches, and the distant howling of wolves. At first, I thought it was just my imagination playing tricks on me, but the sounds grew louder and more frequent. I quickened my pace, my heart pounding in my chest. It was as if I was being stalked by an unseen force, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was running out of time. As I hiked deeper into the forest, I started to notice strange marks on the trees. They looked like crude symbols, etched into the bark with a sharp object. I couldn't make out what they meant, but they seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy. It was as if the forest itself was warning me to turn back, but I was too far gone to listen. The sun was beginning to set, casting long shadows across the forest floor. I knew I had to find shelter for the night, but the thought of spending the night in these woods was daunting. I'd heard stories of people getting lost in the Appalachian Mountains, never to be seen again. The thought sent a shiver down my spine, but I knew I had to press on. As I set up camp, the sounds around me grew louder and more intense. I could feel the presence of the forest, watching me, waiting for me to make my next move. I tried to shake off the feeling, telling myself it was just my imagination, but deep down I knew it was something more. The Cherokee Moccasin Trail was said to be cursed, and I was starting to believe it. The night was long and restless, filled with the sounds of the forest and the weight of my own fear. I knew I had to get out of there as soon as possible, but a part of me wanted to see it through, to see what other secrets the trail had to offer. As I drifted off to sleep, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being pulled deeper into the heart of the forest, further into the unknown. And that's when I heard the whisper, a soft, raspy voice that seemed to come from all around me. "Turn back while you still can," it said. I froze, my heart pounding in my chest. Who, or what was speaking to me? I tried to shake off the feeling, telling myself it was just my imagination, but deep down I knew it was something more. The voice seemed to come from the trees themselves, a warning from the spirits of the Cherokee warriors. I woke up early the next morning, determined to finish the hike. But as I packed up my gear and set off into the forest, I knew I was in for a surprise. The trail seemed to shift and twist, leading me deeper into the woods than I'd ever been before. I started to feel a sense of unease, like I was being herded towards some unknown destination. And then, just as suddenly as it had started, everything went quiet. The forest was still, the only sound the distant chirping of birds. I stood there, frozen in place, wondering what had just happened. And that's when I saw it, a figure standing in the distance, watching me. I couldn't make out any features, but I knew it was there, waiting for me. I turned and ran, not stopping until I was back at the edge of the forest, gasping for air. It was then that I realized the true meaning of the Cherokee Moccasin Trail, a journey into you step into the abandoned streets of Thurmond, a ghost town nestled deep within the Appalachian Mountains. The silence is almost deafening, as if the very spirits of the past are watching your every move. You can't help but feel a chill run down your spine as you breathe in the musty air, heavy with the scent of decay and neglect. As you wander through the empty streets, you notice the remnants of what once was a thriving community. Old storefronts, their wooden facades weathered to a soft gray, stand as testaments to a bygone era. The sound of your footsteps echoes off the buildings, a stark contrast to the vibrant chatter and laughter that once filled these streets. But Thurmond's story is not just one of abandonment and decay. It's a reminder of the dark past that haunts Appalachia, a region where progress and poverty have long been intertwined. The town's history is etched into the very fabric of its existence, a cautionary tale of the human cost of industry and greed. As you explore the town, you come across a series of old photographs, tucked away in a forgotten corner of a dilapidated building. The images depict the lives of the people who once called Thurmond home. Miners, their faces worn and weathered from years of toil. Families, smiling and happy, despite the hardships they faced. And children, playing in the streets, their laughter and joy a stark contrast to the struggles of their parents. The photographs are a poignant reminder of the human cost of progress. They humanize the statistics and stories you've heard, putting a face to the numbers and a heart to the struggles. You can't help but feel a sense of sadness as you gaze upon these images, knowing that the lives portrayed in them were forever changed by the very industry that brought them prosperity. As you continue to explore the town, you begin to notice the remnants of a once thriving community. Old homes, their porches creaking in the gentle breeze, stand as testaments to the lives of those who lived and loved in Thurmond. The streets, once bustling with activity, are now eerily quiet, as if the very spirits of the past are holding their breath in anticipation of something or someone. You can't shake the feeling that Thurmond is a town trapped in time, frozen in a moment between past and present. It's as if the very fabric of the town is holding on to the memories of a bygone era, refusing to let go of the lives and stories that once made it thrive. As you stand in the midst of this abandoned town, you can't help but wonder what secrets Thurmond still holds. What stories lie hidden in its crumbling buildings and overgrown streets. What memories are etched into the very walls of this forgotten community. The silence is oppressive, heavy with the weight of history and the whispers of the past. You can't help but feel a sense of awe and reverence as you stand in the midst of this haunting reminder of Appalachia's dark past. As I stood at the entrance of Saltpeter Cave, a sense of trepidation washed over me. The air was thick with the weight of history, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. According to legend, this cave system in the Appalachian Mountains was home to the spirits of former salt miners, and anyone who ventured inside would be met with terror. I'd heard the warnings, but I had to see it for myself. I took a deep breath and stepped into the darkness, my headlamp casting eerie shadows on the walls. The air inside was stale and musty, and I could feel the weight of the cave's secrets pressing down on me. As I made my way deeper into the cave, I began to feel a creeping sense of dread. It started with small things, a faint noise in the distance, a faint draft that seemed to come from nowhere. But as I walked further, the sensations grew stronger. I was being led deeper into the heart of the cave, but by what? I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being herded towards some unknown fate. The noises grew louder, the drafts more insistent, and I began to feel like I was walking through a nightmare. I tried to shake off the feeling, telling myself it was just my imagination, but deep down I knew better. And then there was the darkness. It was as if the cave itself was swallowing me whole, consuming me with an otherworldly hunger. I tried to shine my light further into the depths of the cave, but it seemed to make no difference. The darkness was a living, breathing thing, and it seemed to be closing in on me from all sides. It was then that I realized I was lost. The cave seemed to have shifted and twisted around me, and I had no idea how to find my way back. I stumbled through the darkness, desperate to find a way out, but every step seemed to lead me further into the heart of the cave. It was then that I remembered the words of the locals. Once you enter Saltpeter Cave, you'll never leave unscathed. And I knew that they were right. As I emerged from the cave, gasping for air, I felt a sense of relief wash over me. But it was short-lived. Looking back on my experience, I realized that Saltpeter Cave had left an indelible mark on me. It was a reminder that there's more to Appalachia than meets the eye, a region steeped in mystery and legend. And as I share my story with you, I hope you'll see the power of storytelling and the importance of respecting the land and its people. The dark side of Appalachia is a place of great beauty and wonder, but also of great terror and awe. What's the most frightening thing that's ever happened to you? Share your own terrifying experience in the comments below. What other terrifying experiences have